Hey there guys! OMG, we're in a part of my apartment that you guys have never seen before! So welcome to my cosplay cave, my little sewing room. This is the den of my apartment. It is where I do all of my cosplay stuff. I hope everybody had a good Christmas time, a good holiday. I got to spend Christmas Day with my family, which was really nice. And I got two types of presents. So from my dad, I got a taser. And my mother got me a whole bunch of sewing patterns. I'm super happy with everything that I got, but especially the patterns. I use commercial patterns for 90% of the costumes that I make. I do know how to make patterns. I learned how to do it in college. I took some costuming classes, but it's not my strongest skill. Normally what I do if I'm looking to make something that I can't find a specific pattern that it's similar to, what I'll do is I will get something similar and then make it out of a muslin and modify it. But I very rarely draft patterns from scratch because most of the time there are already so many great commercial patterns that are out there. Especially in the last year or two, the pattern making companies all seem to have realized who is actually buying their costume patterns. So we've gotten some really cool things and we've gotten some weird things. But both Simplicity and McCall's, who are the pattern retailers who do the most sort of costume patterns, Halloween costume patterns, have been specifically sort of reaching out to the cosplay community a lot. And then one of the main things that McCall's did to really show that they were really trying to embrace the cosplay community is they teamed up for a couple of patterns with Yaya Han. She's a polarizing figure. There are people who love her, there are people who really dislike her. I do not know her personally. I've heard that she's very nice though. But either way, whether you love her or hate her, you have to agree that generally speaking, Yaya Han's costumes are beautifully made and immaculate. She clearly takes a lot of pride in her craftsmanship, which is something that I really respect and admire. There was one in particular that I've been trying to get my hands on for months now, and I got it for Christmas, and that was the Yaya Han's Ultimate Bodysuit pattern. Now me trying to get a hold of this pattern has been such a journey. When it first came out, it was like $21 or something. It was just at the point where it would never go on sale at Joann's. With Joann's patterns, it's any pattern that's under 20, I think. So it was like $21. So it was never on sale. And initially when it first came out, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna need it. Like if I'm doing a costume where I need a jumpsuit, I'll buy it. I'll get it then. But I didn't want to spend that much for a pattern I wasn't sure I was going to use. And then when I got to the point that I was like, okay, yeah, I should get that pattern because it looks like it's, you know, something that it would be handy to have. I'm gonna end up doing a costume at some point that'll need it. And then I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, it was just gone. I couldn't find it anywhere at all. I was like, is it getting discontinued? What's going on? What am I gonna do? But then my mom knew that I was looking for it and she managed to get me a copy for Christmas. So I have a costume that I'm gonna work on that's gonna require this. I actually have two that are coming up that are gonna end up using this, I think, depending on how well the first one goes. And I thought it might be a nice idea to do kind of a pattern review. So we're gonna go over there and we are going to do our first impressions. I'm gonna probably start cutting it out tonight. Okay, so we just cracked the pattern open. I'm gonna start cutting the pieces apart in a little bit. And I went and looked through them first, I have to say. These are some really clear and concise direction sheets. That's not always the case. Some things assume that someone knows how to sew 100%. Whoever wrote these was definitely taking into account that Yaya Han probably has fans who are cosplayers but maybe aren't necessarily, you know, dressmakers or did not come into this knowing a ton about sewing. I wouldn't have this be your very first project, but if you've made costume pieces but you don't necessarily, you're not at the point where you can make an Edwardian ball gown, I feel like these are gonna be pretty good. So I got this in the 6, 8, 12, 14. Normally I do a 12 or a 14, depending on the pattern company, because a 12 or 14 is usually what a 36 bust is. Now, most patterns that are made for a 36 bust are made for a 28 waist, and my waist fluctuates in between 24 and 26. But for this pattern, because it's something that's got some stretch, instead of doing the 14, I'm gonna do the 12. This pattern also has options for different cup sizes, which is really nice for something to be fitted really nicely. That is something that you want to try and go for, girls. So now we are going to cut the pieces apart and we are going to pin it. I've got my fabric that I'm going to start with. I'm not going to say what I'm making. You guys will have to try and guess in the comments. And I'm probably just going to cut it out tonight and then we'll probably sew it another night. So we're getting ready to cut this pattern out and see how that goes. So I'm making the long version with the pants. There's 9 pieces. It's not crazy. I think it's a pretty reasonable number of pieces. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna get these all pinned. Okay, so got everything cut out for us to do the jumpsuit version. So far, it's definitely looking like this is going to be really nicely fitted in the bodice, just from how many pieces it's got. But we won't entirely know that until I put it together, which I will be doing in a separate video, just because this takes a decent amount of time to do, and also because I have to go buy a zipper, because I forgot to do that. Like I said, so far, it seems pretty promising. We will see what happens when I put it together. Hopefully I will get that done in the next couple of days. So I will hopefully be getting this put together in the next couple of days. Put down in the comments what you think I'm making with it, and then if you're right, I will say that you're right, and then if not, then you'll just have to find out later. Woo! Alright, see you guys later. Bye!